What's on, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Ross, I like games, and today we're going to be looking at another Transformers TCG card. We are looking today at one of my very favourites. It's Inferno Fearless Firefighter. I like it because, well, I mean, it's a fire truck, right? And actually, I did mention in a previous video how my dad was a firefighter for like 40 years, so that makes me a little bit more predisposed to liking fire truck Transformers. But also, I like it because it's a really good card. And bearing in mind, right, it's a 12 cost, and we've only got two 13 cost cards. We've got a Megatron, we've got an Optimus Prime, and that's it, right? They're the only 13 cost cards we've got. 12 is expensive, and the bot mode doesn't even have a skill. So it's a hyper expensive card where one side doesn't even have a skill. It has got to be a crazy good card for us to get excited about it. Well, the great news is, ladies and gentlemen, it is a crazy good card. So what does it actually do? Well, if we start off looking at the stats, the average stat of a Transformer in this card game is an 8 cost with 12 health, 4 attack, and 2 defense. So we can see here that actually we are 50% above the average cost, 8 to 12. We are actually one below the average health. We've gone from 12 down to 11. And then it just starts getting really good. We have raised our health by 50% from 2 to 3. And the attack is 6 in alt mode and 8 in bot mode. There are no Transformers character cards that have a base attack higher than 8 in the game. Optimus Prime Battlefield Legend, one of those 13 costs, can match it, but there is no other character in the entire game that has a cost higher than 8. And like I say, other than Optimus Prime, no one's even got an attack of 8. So higher than average health is good. The attack is redonk, and like I said, there's no skill in bot mode, but in alt mode there's a crazy good skill. When you flip to this mode, return all upgrades on a character to their owner's hand. Now, initially this sounds alright, but there are several really good things about it. First of all, it just wastes time. So let's say, for argument's sake, there's an Optimus Prime, and maybe they've got an ion blaster of Optimus Prime giving them +2 attack, +1 defense. And then with Optimus Prime being a truck, maybe they've got a cargo trailer giving it 1 more attack, and they can have up to 3 cargo trailers. Well, you just get all of those and put them back into your opponent's hand. And sure, they can reattach them, but they can only reattach 1 per turn, and they already had these attached. They probably wanted to attach other upgrades, so just in terms of disruption, it's kind of fun. But there are a couple of uses for this skill which I think really put it into the top tier. First of all, we've got Security Checkpoint. Security Checkpoint compared with this is just unfair. And as a side note, Security Checkpoint is one of only 2 cards with a double blue icon. Really good when you're defending. Security Checkpoint, each player reveals their hand and scraps all upgrades from it. So in theory, you make sure you've got no upgrades in hand or none that you don't mind discarding. You switch into alt mode, making your opponent pick up all their upgrades from one character, and then you play Security Checkpoint, and then you make them scrap them all. That's kind of mean. Although if you want to go further, one of the best partners for this is Decepticon Shockwave Cybertron Commander, whose skill says when a card is scrapped from your opponent's hand, your opponent chooses one of their characters and does 1 damage to it. Now, I believe in the Shockwave video I actually slightly misspoke on this combo. I suggested that your opponent picked up all their upgrades when you used Inferno. It's only from 1 character. But that's, starting at 3 and potentially going more and more. This is really nice. Now, you don't have to play Shockwave to get the Security Checkpoint combo. Obviously, that's a good reason for it. But one of the things I love about this is it can get rid of forcefield. You see, I think forcefield is one of the most broken battle cards in the game. Firstly, it's got a white icon. If you hit it when you're attacking or defending, you flip an extra 2 cards. That's awesome. But it basically means that you can only take 4 damage from an attack. And Inferno, along with a bunch of other characters, he's one of these ones that wants to smash, wants to do giant attacks. But with a force field, you can only do a maximum of 4. That's a little bit of a pain. Now, there's plenty of ways to get rid of upgrades, like ramming speed. The problem is, you've got to draw into your ramming speed or whatever other card you're using. On the turn you do the damage, that's not always possible. But you can flip to Inferno Fearless Firefighter, or you can flip it into alt mode right before you attack, guaranteeing that they don't have a force field. If you're playing a deck with very aggressive characters trying to do big attacks, force field is one of the worst things you can see coming down. Inferno can guarantee you get rid of it, and you don't have to search it out. It's always there ready to flip. Now, I suppose this is as good a time as any to point out that you get the good skill when you flip into alt mode with Inferno, but you've got an attack too higher in bot mode. This is where cards like Rapid Conversion come in. An ideal turn here would be flip it into alt mode, get the skill, and then use Rapid Conversion to flick back to Inferno Fearless Firefighter, so that you can actually do the big attack. Now, that does mean that you're unlikely to be able to use Security Checkpoint as well, but remember there's cards like Brainstorm that let you play an extra action, so Brainstorm would allow you to play both of them. So with all that intro stuff out the way, what kind of partners would we see here? Well, we've already mentioned Shockwave, that's a fairly obvious one, but I don't know which other ones we would want to use. I don't think there are any amazing partners that really leap off the page. I mean, Inferno's a great attacker, so maybe here you could just pair him with Megatron, the living weapon, the rare one, which I think is a good partner just because it's another really good attacker. It's got an attack of 7 and you can pop weapons in the armor and utility slots, just making it a really good attacker. And then when you're in alt mode, you can just grab a weapon from the scrap pile. So that would work, and that would put you at exactly 25 stars, which is nice. Or maybe instead you go Optimus Prime Battlefield Legend. It's again a 13 cost, so you'd be at exactly 25. And again, it's a really good attacker. This one's got an 8 attack in bot mode, but this one's got really good skills. In bot mode, when you flip for the attack, you may play an action that you flipped, which is great. And then alt mode, when you flip to it, you can get an action from your scrap pile to your hand. Maybe something like a security checkpoint or a rapid conversion that you might want to use later. So both of them would work if you wanted to play a really aggressive deck. The problem is, being a 12 cost, you can make a free character team, but you've got to be really careful because you've only got 13 stars for your last 2 characters. So what you could do here, and I'm not saying this is the only option, but I quite like the idea of playing RC, just because it's a 5 cost, which is great, really cheap, and it repairs when you flick into alt mode, really good for keeping Inferno alive, being that he's your main character a lot of the time. And then in bot mode, you got Pierce equal to your attack. So if you're building up your attack with Inferno, which you should be doing, then you'll also be building up your attack for RC, and RC has Pierce equal to her attack. So either being able to heal or being able to build up the attack, which you're probably doing anyway, I do like the idea of. And then you've got 8 left to play with, so maybe you go Autobot Hound, which is an 8 cost, and I'm not loving Autobot Hound, but the stats are, I mean, it is the average card. Except the defense in alt mode is 1 lower than the average. Other than that, it is the average card across the board. But if you flick a white icon in bot mode, you get +1 attack, +1 defense. And in alt mode, you may scrap a card from your hand that has at least 1 white icon and draw 2 cards. So yeah, Autobot Hound really does need you to play a bunch of white icons, but by the same token, it's got decent stats, it fits into your deck cost-wise, and it's a truck, which does help you out for reasons we'll see in a moment. So in terms of cards you could really use to help you out here, I think you want to increase your attack. And there are a couple of ways I think you can do so. Leap into Battle is a really nice action card, giving one of your characters +3 attack until the end of the turn. That works quite nicely. Or you could use Supercharge, which gives one of your characters Bold 3 until the end of your turn, meaning you flip 3 more battle cards when you attack. I'm also quite a fan here of Battle Ready. Each of your characters gets +1 attack until the end of the turn for each upgrade on it. And being that you're a truck here, you can actually take advantage of Cargo Trailer, which can only be put on trucks, but then the upgraded character has +1 attack for each cargo trailer on it, and you can put up to 3 cargo trailers in the utility slot. And then if you can get 3 cargo trailers in the utility slot, you then play Battle Ready, and you get another +3 attack. Battle Ready essentially turns your cargo trailers into +2 attack, and you can already see where we're going with this. This can build up the attack pretty gosh darned quickly. Now, being a truck, you do have a couple of options. We've already mentioned Cargo Trailer. I like it quite a lot. And we've got Team Up Tactics. Now, Team Up Tactics, well, you got 2 choices. Either you pick a car and draw 2 cards, or you repair 2 damage from a truck. Given that this is a truck, given that the health is slightly lower than we would like, and given that it's a great attacker, we want to keep it on the field, so Team Up Tactics here could be quite nice. And you are a ranged character, so might I suggest Armoured Hovercraft? This is an upgrade. When you put it on a ranged character, you do 1 damage to each enemy, plus it gives you an extra 1 attack. That sounds like a pretty good upgrade for an attacking character. I also quite like Rapid Ascent. This increases your defense by 1, and when you put it on a ranged character, your opponent chooses a card from their hand, and they scrap it. That sounds kind of like fun to me. As a side note, Optimus Prime is ranged in bot mode, which is something to bear in mind if you want to pop him in, and Megatron Living Weapon is ranged in both modes, so again, something to bear in mind. And then Optimus Prime is a truck, so Optimus Prime being both ranged and truck does mean you get to take advantage of a lot of the cards that you'll be taking advantage of if you're playing Inferno. So there we go, ladies and gentlemen. I think this is a very interesting card. I think if you give me a 12 cost that doesn't actually have a skill in one of its modes, my presumption is going to be, oh my god, that card's garbage. But the more we look at this, the more it actually stands out as one of the very, very best characters in the entire game. And if you disagree with that statement, come at me in the comment section. Go nuts, but do please remember the rule. Be nice. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at the Wossy, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCG Radio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all of that good stuff, head on over to patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can do exactly that. But by far the most important thing, as always, is to look after yourselves until next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.